Our next guest, Alabama Senator Katie Britt, played a pivotal role in helping to end the longest shutdown in U.S. history, working with the White House and bipartisan negotiators. Joining me now is the woman herself, Alabama Senator Katie Britt. Senator, thanks very much for being here. What was most important for you to do in terms of getting government reopened again? How did you do it?
Well, look, Maria, I was back home talking to people, listening to people on the weekends, and the effects of this Schumer shutdown were real. It was clear that we saw the Democrats putting partisan politics and poll numbers above the people that they serve. And as I talked to people at home, Maria, I mean, the consequences of this were devastating. You had people that were furloughed, people that were not obviously receiving a paycheck, were unable to make their mortgage or rent payments or car payments or, child care. I had people telling me about increases at food banks and the number of clients that were coming there. We heard about Head Starts closing, Maria. These had real consequences for real people. And yet Democrats who continued to take a paycheck through this. Now, I want to make sure that your viewers remember that. Here they were demanding that people go without a paycheck so they could score political points, but yet they were still taking one themselves. I think that shows you that this was selfish and that it was centered on all of the wrong things. So for me, it was how do we get the government back working and how do we make Congress operate in a way that actually achieves results for the American people? Because ultimately, that's what President Trump wants. He wants to achieve results for the people he serves. That's what he's been doing. And the Democrats were trying to thwart that, and we weren't going to let them do that.
We've been talking about affordability this morning with the Treasury Secretary this morning, as well as with New York Congresswoman Elise Stefanik. The president has floated this idea of sending Americans direct payments of $2,000 checks or more. Do you think that would pass muster with Congress?
Well, look, I sure hope so. I sure hope we take a look at these types of things and how we can make sure that the American people have more of their hard-earned money back in their pocket. And if you think about what President Trump has been doing overall, he wants to make sure that we onshore more jobs, that we drive up American wages. And the results of these negotiations are more money in Americans' pockets. That's what this has been about all along, leveling the playing field, because President Trump knows that you can put Americans against anyone else in the world. And if we are on a level playing field, we will always win. And so being able to show the results to the American people, allowing them to keep more of their hard-earned money, I certainly hope that that's something that Congress takes a look at. And definitely, I think that it would be something that the American people would receive well.
So do you believe the GOP agenda is changing with this new messaging about affordability? What are your priorities going into the midterms?
Yeah, so look, I mean, we've already been talking about affordability. You think about the working family tax cuts, Maria, and all that we delivered for the American people. It was absolutely incredible. So President Trump had campaigned on securing the border. He did that on day one. We were able to layer in more of that into the one big beautiful bill. We talk about affordability and pushing money back to Americans' pockets, whether it was the deductions for seniors, the $6,000 or the $12,000 or for a couple, whether it was the child care tax credits that had not been updated, Maria, since Ronald Reagan. President Trump delivered, pushing more of that hard-earned money of Americans back into their pockets. We saw that with no tax on tips. We've seen that in so many ways, and I think people will ultimately see the results of this package soon, and we'll continue to keep building on that, looking at affordability of housing and making sure that we're driving down energy costs and that we're delivering results for Americans.
Well, look, Senator, there's a lot of pressure right now on Chuck Schumer after he pushed to keep the government shutdown going. Do you believe he will run for re-election? Do you think his time is up?
Well, look, I think if you look at what happened in the elections just less than 2 weeks ago, we saw that the Democratic Party, the left wing, is no longer the left wing. It is in the driver's seat. You just heard that from Congresswoman Stefanik. You've got to be crystal clear about who the Democratic Party is. You've got a Democratic socialist that's going to be the mayor of the shining city on the hill in New York City. You look at who they elevated there as Attorney General in Virginia, someone who talked about taking the life of an opponent and his children. It's absolutely disgusting and despicable, Maria. And so I think that the Democratic Party has lost its way, but Republicans are showing a pathway forward.
Senator, thank you. We'll be watching your work. Katie Britt joining us this morning.